Hello friends, welcome back to Ancient Indian History series of StudyIQ IAS English. Till now, we have covered different chapters of Ancient Indian History series. That is, the first chapter, Prehistoric Culture. Apart from that, we have covered 3 parts in Vedic Civilization, that is Vedic Civilization Part 1, Part 2 and the conclusion. We have also covered in short about the different Mahajanpads or the important Mahajanpad. Today's chapter is of vital importance in entire ancient Indian history. Why? Because here we are going to discuss one of the most important dynasties of that time, and that is, as the title suggests, the Mauryan Empire. Okay guys, so without wasting any more time, let's begin with the Mauryan Empire. Again, today's series or today's session is full of interesting and beautiful stories. Hope you'll enjoy these stories, and along with that, you'll get to learn something new apart from different terminology, facts and concepts. Okay guys, so let's begin with the Mauryan Empire. Who was the founder of Mauryan Empire? The founder of Mauryan Empire was Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya is often referred as Sandrokotas or Androkotas in Greek and Latin literature. Now, before I explain about Chandragupta Maurya, let me give you a brief synopsis about who the Alexander was. What was the role played by Chanakya in making Chandragupta Maurya as one of the greatest or the mightiest emperor of the most important dynasties at that time? That is Mauryan Empire. Listen to me carefully guys, a wonderful and beautiful stories. Try to correlate the different stories because here I'm going to tell you 2 to 3 different stories. Okay. Let's begin with the first part of the story. Alexander. Alexander was son of Philip of Macedonia, who ruled over the region of Greece. Now, it is believed that the Greeks and Persians at that time were fighting for the supremacy of the world. And Alexander, the Greek king, defeated the Persian ruler Darius I. Now he wanted to explore India. He not only wanted to explore India to loot its wealth or to expand its territories, but also he was a keen student of geographical inquiry. In simple words, he wanted to explore the geographical terrains of India. Alexander, he came to India like the Aryans came to India. Alexander entered into India through Khyber Pass, which is located in Hindu Kush Mountains. It is believed that Alexander's army was so powerful. I'll give you one of the statements where I have read in one of the books of V.D. Mahajanji, and the statement goes like, if the Alexander's army is thirsty and if they are resting by the river side, they will dry up the entire river. You can imagine the strength and the vastness of the army of Alexander. So Alexander was a very powerful ruler. And many rulers at that time, particularly in the Indian subcontinent, meekly submitted to Alexander without fighting a battle. And the first ruler to submit to Alexander was King Ambhi. He was the ruler of Takshashila at that time. He submitted without fighting a battle. But there was one ruler who is also revered in the textbooks of history. His name was Porus. He bravely, he valiantly fighted with the army of Alexander. And in that case, it is believed that he showed an exemplary courage. Fascinated by the courage, the bravery, the valor shown by Porus, Alexander returned back him his territories. In fact, he added on more territories. Now, Alexander moved till the northern part of river Beas. And since almost 6.5 years to 6 years, his army was war weary. They were homesick. They were continuously fighting battles. And now Alexander had to retreat back to his country. Now Alexander on the way had conquered many territories. So while going back, in the memory of Alexander, he erected 12 altars on the northern bank of river Beas to set an example that he is one of the world conquerors. And it is believed that while going back, he redistributed those territories among his loyal governors and he divided them into 3 parts. Got it? This is one part of the story. Second part of the story. Pay attention. As we have seen in Mahajanpad, The last ruler of Nanda dynasty was Dhananand. Very greedy, very cruel ruler. He used to impose taxes on the people, and whatever money was coming from the taxes, rather than spending that money for the welfare of his subjects, he used to sponsor his lavish lifestyle. And one of the ministers in the court, or one of the scholars in the court of Dhananand, was Chanakya, oftenly referred as Kautilya or Vishnugupta. It is believed that in his childhood days, Chanakya had a symbol of snake on his teeth, which is a lucky symbol, which symbolizes that either he'll become a great king or a great minister. But one day, an astrologer visited his home and told his mother that your son will become a great king or a minister. Instead of being happy, his mother started weeping. She started crying. And it is believed that Chanakya immediately picked up a stone and broke his teeth. This simply exemplifies one thing. Chanakya never had the greed or lust for power and money. But see, he became an important scholar in the court of Dhananand, the last ruler of Nanda dynasty. Moving ahead. There was a famine in the region of Patliputra. And what is the Rajya Dharma of the ruler? In the condition or situation like famine, it is a responsibility or the duty of the ruler to free the peasants from that burden of taxation. At this point of time, Dhananand overburdened the peasants with the taxes. It is believed that he increased the taxes by 8 to 12 times. People got infuriated. They came to Chanakya and said, please go and explain your king, your master. Chanakya went to explain Dhananand. The court was full of ministers. As soon as Chanakya entered and tried to explain the Rajya Dharma to Dhananand, Dhananand got angry. He got annoyed. He got infuriated and said, you are Pandit. Do your duty. Don't teach me my Rajya Dharma. Chanakya felt humiliated. He felt insulted. But he could not utter a word. Why? Because he was a normal minister. And Dhananand, he was a great emperor at that time. There wasn't any change in the attitude of Dhananand in the forthcoming years. One fine day, Chanakya got angry. And he came to Dhananand and said in the front of all the ministers that you have forgotten your Rajya Dharma. Dhananand became so angry that he kicked Chanakya in the chest. You guys might have seen the pic of Chanakya. There is a knot behind his head. As soon as he kicked Chanakya in the chest, Chanakya fell down and his knot got opened. Immediately he took a vow. Immediately he took a pledge. Until and unless I destroy you, until and unless I destroy your kingdom, I won't reveal my face to you. From there onwards, he left Patliputra and started moving into the jungles of Vindhyan mountains, specifically in the region of Vindhya. Now, basically it is seen that he was resting under a tree. And when he was resting under a tree, he saw a boy, a small boy of 10 to 12 years of age. He was playing with the local children. And when he was playing, they were playing a game wherein this 10 to 12 years of old boy, whose name was Chandu, in the coming years Chandragupta Maurya, he played the role of a king. Chanakya was very much attracted by this young boy. Rather than saying young boy, young child basically, 10 to 12 years of old. He played the role of a king in a very beautiful and immense manner, which depicted bravery, chivalry and decision-making skills. Many historians, many historical texts believe that Chanakya purchased this 10 to 12 years old boy named as Chandu from his foster father by giving him 1,000 gold coins. And now Chanakya moved along with this boy to Takshila. Various historical texts believe that Chanakya was a graduate of Takshila University. Many historians believe that Chanakya basically was a professor. Later on, he became a professor in Takshila University. Now, Chanakya had two students. One was an Himalayan ruler, Parvatak. We'll understand about his role as well. One was Himalayan ruler, Parvatak, also referred as Pabat in various historical texts. Okay, and another student was Chandu, or oftenly referred as Chandragupta Maurya. Now, he trained both of them. Okay. Now, as I've told you about the first part of the story, Alexander. Now, if Alexander is such a great ruler, he's not only because of his hard work, it is also because of his strategy, his skills. So Chanakya insisted Chandragupta Maurya, okay, to be a part of Alexander's army for some time and learn certain new strategies and skill. And this was done by Chandragupta Maurya. As I've told you, like the army of Alexander was war weary. They were homesick since they have been fighting battles for past 6.5 years. Now what happened? Alexander's army had to retreat. Chanakya, he became full of pride. He said that if I have made such a huge emperor to retreat, who is Dhananand? He is nothing more than peanuts. Without any strategy, without any planning, he directly attacked Patliputra with few soldiers, few cavalrymen and few chariots and horses. By the evening, his entire army was thwarted. His entire army was being cleaned up by the army of Dhananand, vast army of 1.5 to 2 lakhs. It is believed that Chanakya and Chandragupta Maurya came and hid in a small village. An incident completely changed Chanakya's life, and that incident was, as I've told you previously, a lady was feeding his child with dal rice, khichdi, and that child directly put his hands into the khichdi and his fingers got burned. That lady said, "You are a fool like Chanakya. You should eat it from the circumference so that it becomes colder, and secondly, you will suffice your hunger." Chanakya immediately realized his mistake and came up with a new theory called as Saptanga theory. Saptanga basically tried to break this etymology into 2 parts. Saptang, 7 parts. So he came up with 7 parts of the administration, which is relevant even today in every branch of the administration. And now, this person Chanakya came up with a new strategy. Chandragupta Maurya now realized that he could not alone fight with the army of Dhananand. So Chandragupta Maurya, and as per different historical records, another student of Chanakya, who was also the Himalayan ruler, whose name was Parvatak or Pabat, they made a strategy. And what was that strategy? They both will make an alliance against Dhananand. And after the defeat of Dhananand, they will distribute the kingdom equally between both of them. Okay? Got it? They had a plan. They had an alliance. They overthrew Dhananand. And before establishment of Mauryan Empire, there was a question in the mind of Chanakya, whom to make the ruler of the Mauryan Empire at Patliputra. So now, as per different historical texts, see guys, different historical texts reveal different stories, but I am coming up with a common story here. Okay? So Chanakya now had a question, whom to make the ruler? Parvatak or what we say Chandragupta Maurya. So he tried to test it both of his students. Now, one fine day, Chandragupta Maurya was sleeping. Okay? And it is believed that the Chandragupta Maurya had a gold chain or a woolen kind of a chain or a necklace around his neck. Okay? Now, Chanakya gave a task to Parvatak or Pabat that go and remove that necklace or a chain without waking up Chandragupta Maurya. Parvatak or Pabat thought for a while, but he could not come up with the answer to this question. Next day, this person, Parvatak, was sleeping. When Parvatak was sleeping, the same task was given to Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya went there and beheaded Parvatak. Now Chanakya decided that this person is not only basically skillful, he's also courageous, and he deserves to become the ruler of Mauryan Empire. So Chandragupta Maurya now became the ruler of one of the mightiest empires of ancient India, that is the Mauryan Empire. Now, he is also referred as Sandrokotas or Androkotas in Greek and Latin literature. Okay. This is the second part of the story. Now let's move to the third part. As I've told you previously, when Alexander was going back to his country, he redistributed the territories among his loyal governors. And in the region of India-Afghanistan border, particularly around the region of Kabul, Kandahar, Herat and Balochistan. I repeat, Kabul, Kandahar, Herat and Balochistan. he gave those territories to Seleucus Nicator, one of the loyal governors of Alexander. Now Seleucus Nicator, he wanted to fulfill the dream of his master Alexander to conquer entire India. But Seleucus Nicator was mistaken this time. Why? Because this time the region of northern part of India was under one of the mightiest rulers, Chandragupta Maurya, under the guidance of one of the most important scholar, Chanakya or Kautilya. He just decided to conquer India, and by that time, Chandragupta Maurya's army had reached the doors of Afghanistan. Seleucus Nicator had to retreat back. He surrendered 4 regions to whom? The 4 regions were submitted to Chandragupta Maurya, which included Kabul, Kandahar, Herat and Balochistan. Apart from this, Seleucus Nicator also married his daughter Helen to Chandragupta Maurya. And in fact, many historical texts reveal that Chandragupta Maurya in return gave a gift of 500 elephants to Seleucus Nicator. The entire incident depicts one thing. And what is that? The vast spy network of Chandragupta Maurya. Correct? It is believed that Chandragupta Maurya was ruling in the eastern part. Okay? Suppose this is Patliputra in the region of Bihar. Now Afghanistan was in the northwestern part. So he cannot govern the region of Afghanistan directly. So what did he do? He appointed a special governor for the territory of northwestern province. And his name was Pushyagupta. I repeat, Pushyagupta was appointed as the governor. Okay? Apart from following the policy of imperialism, apart from expanding his territories, Chandragupta Maurya was also interested in improving the trade. And for that, he built many roads. It is believed that Chandragupta Maurya constructed a road from Patliputra to Takshashila. That is from east to the northwest part. And the midpoint of the road was Varanasi. And at that time, Kashi was the Mahajanpad with its capital at Varanasi. Varanasi, the name derives from 2 rivers, Varuna and Asi. So Chandragupta Maurya constructed a road from Patliputra to Takshashila with its midpoint at Varanasi. Correct? With its midpoint at Varanasi. And it is believed that Varanasi at that time became an important center of trade, particularly in cotton textile, slaves and horses. Okay? Now, Chandragupta Maurya also constructed many reservoirs so that the peasants would get ease for the irrigation purpose. Now, another part of the story. It is believed that during the reign of Chandragupta Maurya, again there was famine in Patliputra. And at that time, the Jain monks got divided into 2 groups. The first group was led by Bhadrabahu. And the second group was led by Sthula Bhadra. The group that was led by Bhadrabahu, excuse me, the group that was led by Bhadrabahu moved towards southern part of India, particularly Shravanbelagula in Karnataka. And the group led by Sthula Bhadra, they stayed in Patliputra itself. After 12 years, it is believed that the group led by Bhadrabahu came back to Patliputra. And there were ideological differences between Bhadrabahu and Sthula Bhadra. And from here onwards, there was Shiism in Jainism. Shiism basically means division in Jainism. So, the followers of Bhadrabahu came to be referred as Digambar, whereas the follower of Sthula Bhadra who stayed in Patliputra were referred as Shwetambar. Correct? Now, what is the relevance of this story in Chandragupta Maurya's life? It is believed that this event occurred during the tenure of Chandragupta Maurya. First thing. Second major aspect, as I have told you, the group led by Bhadrabahu moved towards southern part of India, particularly Shravanbelagula. So it is believed that Chandragupta Maurya, he gave his entire kingdom to his son Bindusara under the guidance of an able minister, Chanakya. And finally, he renounced his entire his kingdom. And along with Bhadrabahu, Chandragupta Maurya also moved towards Shravan-Belagola. So many historical texts reveal that Chandragupta Maurya accepted Jainism during the end of his reign. Okay? And this entire event has been mentioned in a book called as Paristhiti Parvan. It's a Jain text. I repeat, this entire event has been mentioned in a Jain text called as Paristhiti Parvan. Correct? It is believed that Chandragupta Maurya, during his last days, as I've told you, he accepted Jainism. He committed Salekhna. And what is Salekhna? Fast unto death. So please remember this terminology. He committed Salekhna. Correct? As I've told you previously, Chandragupta Maurya in many historical texts, particularly the Greek and Latin literature, is mentioned as Sandrokotas or Androkotas. Okay? This was the story of Chandragupta Maurya. Yes, guys, wasn't the story interesting? Yes? Let's move on with another beautiful story of Bindusara, the son of Chandragupta Maurya. Again, interesting story. Pay attention carefully. Bindusara. Bindusara's original name was Simhasen. Okay? Now, he finds mention in various texts like Buddhist texts like Deepavams and Mahavams, and Jain texts like Paristhiti Parvan. He also finds mention in Vishnu Puran. Okay. Now, there's a very interesting story associated with birth of Bindusara. Now, listen to me very carefully. And the name Bindusara was given to Bindusara by Chanakya. How? Like it is said that battle is not the only means to defeat a ruler, or waging a war is not the only means to kill a ruler. You can also kill a ruler by poisoning him. And Chanakya, he knew this very well. So what did Chanakya do? Like Chanakya used to add small doses of poison into the food of Chandragupta Maurya, so that his body system or his immune system gets immune to the poison attack. I'll give you a small example. Okay. Suppose if you have a cough and cold, and to treat or cure that cough and cold, you take a very heavy antibiotic. Your cough and cold will get cured. But for the next time, when you get a heavy cough and cold, and if you take the same antibiotic, the probability is there that that antibiotic won't, what we say, cure your disease. Why? Because your body has become resistant to that antibiotic. True? Similarly, Chandragupta Maurya, he used to have small doses of poison in his food, so that his body will get poison resistance. Now, one fine day, Chandragupta Maurya was sitting along with his second queen named as Durdhara. I repeat, he was sitting along with his second queen named as Durdhara, and he was having his lunch. Durdhara at this time was pregnant, and she was few days away from delivery, 5 to 7 days away from delivery. As I have told you, the food of Chandragupta Maurya has certain amount of poison in it. Now he started eating the food, and he forgot about that there is some poison, what we say, mixed in the food, because he has the habit of it. And he started eating. As soon as he took 2 to 3, or what we say, as soon as he took 2 to 3 spoons of certain vegetable or a curry, he realized that there is some sort of poison in the food. And by now, his wife, who was having lunch along with him, she started vomiting blood, because she was not resistant to that poison. Immediately, Chanakya was called. Chanakya immediately called Bheshaj or Mishak. Bheshaj or Mishak are doctors of that time, also referred as Vaidya. Immediately, Vaidya was called, and it was after checking the nerves, it was said that either you could save the fetus or you could save the queen. Chandragupta Maurya left the entire decision in the hands of his guru, that is Chanakya. Chanakya said, save the fetus and kill the lady. Initially, the head of the queen Durdhara was cut. Why? Because as soon as she will fall down, the blood will flow in the upward direction. And when the blood will flow in the upward direction, the poison that is being mixed in the blood won't flow to the fetus. Later on, the belly of the lady Durdhara was cut, or the queen Durdhara was cut, and the fetus was put in the fresh goat fetus for the next 7 days. Okay, can you imagine the surgical technique at that time? The fetus of Durdhara was cut and it was put in the fetus of a goat for the next 7 days. Okay, and it is believed that after 7th day, a boy was born. And when the boy was born, the first drop of a goat's blood fell on the boy's forehead. Hence, the boy was named as Bindusara, that is strength of a drop of a goat's blood. And this name Bindusara was given to him by whom? Chanakya. And the original name of Bindusara was Simhasen. Got it? Now, different stories. It is believed that about Bindusara. Now, as I've told you, Chanakya initially was a minister in the court of Dhanananda as well. Correct? So, Chanakya, it is said that in that court, he knew one minister whose name was Subandhu. And Subandhu was expert in the economic skills, in the financial skills. So now, Chanakya suggested Bindusara to make Subandhu as a minister in his court. And since Bindusara knew everything, that Bindusara knew this, that actually Chanakya was responsible for creating such a mighty empire, because he was guru of his father, Chandragupta Maurya. So Bindusara always respected the decision taken by Chanakya. So he said, Chanakya, if it is your wish, and if you know this, that he's a good scholar, he's a good finance minister, you can appoint him as a minister. Subandhu was appointed as a minister in the court of Bindusara. Okay? Now, with the passage of time, this person, Subandhu, who was appointed as a minister, started feeling jealous of Chanakya. Why? Because whenever a major decision needs to be taken, Bindusara always consulted Chanakya. He never consulted whom? Subandhu. And although Subandhu was an important minister, he never consulted him. Subandhu got jealous. And one fine day, Chanakya was outside Chanakya was out due to some reason. And taking this as an opportunity, Subandhu poisoned the mind of Bindusara. How? He said to Bindusara, do you know who is the killer of your mother? Who killed your mother? It was Chanakya who killed your mother. Now Bindusara, he got infuriated with Chanakya. And at this point of time, although Bindusara was a mighty ruler, but in that case, Chanakya was also a very good scholar at that time. He had a good fan following among the people at that time. So he could not directly kill him. But now Bindusara started avoiding Chanakya. And when Bindusara started hating Chanakya, or when he started avoiding him, what happened basically? Chanakya realized this. And Chanakya believes in one thing. If you are not respected in a particular place, leave that place. If people do not understand your worth in that place, leave that place. Chanakya resigned as a prime minister of Bindusara and moved into the jungles and started living as a hermit. Now, at that point of time, when Chanakya was leaving, Bindusara even did not inquire from Chanakya, why are you leaving? Chanakya went into the jungles. Now the administration of Bindusara was completely in doldrums. Now Bindusara started realizing his mistake, that why did I allow Chanakya to go? At that point of time, there was a lady who has brought up Bindusara. She came to Bindusara and said, if Chanakya couldn't have been there, you couldn't have been the great emperor. Forget about you couldn't have been the great emperor. Your father couldn't have been the great emperor. It is because of Chanakya this Mauryan empire exists on the land of Patliputra. Bindusara immediately realized his mistake. He went to meet Chanakya. He started searching Chanakya. And one fine day, he got the glimpse of Chanakya. He went to Chanakya. He apologized Chanakya, but Chanakya said that I have completely renounced all the ministerial duties. Now I'm living a life of an ascetic. And please do allow me to live into the jungles. He went back, Bindusar. Bindusar now called Subandhu. You have poisoned my minds. Go and get Chanakya. And if Chanakya doesn't come, I will behead you. Now Subandhu goes into the jungles searching for Chanakya. And Subandhu one fine day meets Chanakya. What a wonderful dialogue given by Chanakya to Subandhu. And what was that? To run the administration, politics is necessary. I repeat, to run the administration, politics is necessary. But don't play politics with the originator of politics. I repeat, to run the administration, politics is necessary, but don't play politics with the originator of politics. Subandhu now realized that Chanakya won't come back to the court. So Subandhu also renounced all his ministerial duties and started living a life of an ascetic along with Chanakya. Wasn't that a beautiful story? Correct? Now it is believed that Bindusar is also referred in various Sanskrit texts as Amitraghat. Okay, Amitraghat basically means killer of enemies or slayer of foes. Foes basically means enemies. So he is referred as Amitraghat. He is also referred in Greek and Latin literature as Antriochates. I repeat, in Greek and Latin literature, he is also referred as Antriochates. Okay? Egyptian king Philadelphus, he sent an ambassador to the court of Bindusar, and his name was Dionysius. I repeat, Dionysius. It is believed that Bindusar, he became the follower of Ajivika sect during the end of his reign. One more fact that needs to be noted down, guys. Like Megasthenes, who wrote Indica, one of the most beautiful texts of that time, which actually reveals the history of India at that time, was a scholar in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. Okay? So guys, this was the story of Chandragupta Maurya and his son Bindusar. Hope so the points are clear. Any query? Any doubt? Any question, guys? Now let's move on with one of the most important rulers, not only of Mauryan Empire, but of entire ancient India. Guys, I'm not segregating or I'm not having a bifurcating opinion on that case, but when the word ancient India comes and when the brave rulers of ancient India comes, there are many rulers. But two major rulers have given the prime importance in our historical text. And one among them is Ashoka. Second one is Gupta dynasty ruler Samudragupta, also referred as Napoleon of India or Indian Napoleon by Winston Smith. So let's speak about Ashoka. It is believed that Bindusar, he had more than 100 sons. Various historical texts reveal different stories. Okay? So let's go by the common stories. Bindusar had more than 100 sons, and one among them was Ashoka. Ashoka basically means painless and without fear, without pain. Ashoka never knew what pain is, what fear is. Now Ashoka, he was expert in scriptures. He was expert in academics. And apart from that, he was also expert in warfare skills, archery, cavalry. He worked as a cavalryman, everything, horse riding. He was expert in everything. But Bindusar did not wanted Ashoka to become the ruler. Why? Because Ashoka's mother, Shubhadrangi, she was a Brahmin lady. And at that time, it was believed that Kshatriyas are the ruler and Brahmins' duty is majorly to preach or to guide the Kshatriyas. So here, Ashoka, he cannot become the ruler, although he has all the qualities, he fulfills all the criteria to become the next emperor of what? The Mauryan Empire. Now start the game of throne. And what's that? Now, Bindusara did not wanted Ashoka to become the ruler. Okay? So, what did Bindusara do? Now, let's listen to me carefully. Suppose this is the Mauryan Empire. Okay. In center, there is a ruler. So the ruler was basically Bindusara, and he had its capital at Patliputra. Northwest and the other regions, governors were appointed for the administration. Okay. So northwest was in Takshila, southwest was in Suvarnagiri, west was in Ujjain, and east with its capital at Tosli, around Odisha. So what did Bindusara do? As I have told you, Bindusara did not want Ashoka to become the ruler. In fact, Bindusara wanted his son Sushim to become the ruler. Sushim to become the ruler. Now, what did Sushim plan? Sushim convinced his father Bindusara to make Ashoka the governor of Avanti, that is governor of Ujjain. In that case, what will happen? Although Ashoka has the qualities of becoming a ruler, but if he is given the position of governor, he won't revolt. But Ashoka was not a fool. He knew everything. This is the entire plot created by his brother Sushim. But still, Ashoka respected the decision of his father and he started moving towards Ujjain, because he was made as a governor of Ujjain or Avanti at that time. Now, while moving towards Ujjain, there is a place in Madhya Pradesh called as Vidisha, also referred as Bhilsa or Besnagar. Here he halted, and here he met a local banker and his daughter, whose name was Devi. Now, Ashoka married Devi at a place called as Vidisha. Listen to me carefully. Ashoka was made as the governor of Avanti. Now, from Patliputra to Avanti or Ujjain, Ashoka started moving. He halted at a place called as Vidisha or Besnagar, located in MP, Madhya Pradesh. Here he met a local banker and his daughter, Devi. Ashoka married Devi. From Devi, he had two sons. Okay, that is Ujjainiya and Mahendra. And he has a daughter named as Sangamitra. And now he moved towards the region of Ujjain. He became the governor of Ujjain. Okay. Now, he became so prosperous and popular in the region of Ujjain that Bindusara's popularity, Bindusara's popularity started getting numb in front of the popularity of his son Ashoka. And this was not digested by Sushim. At this point of time, there was outbreak of civil revolt in the region of Takshashila. Correct? So now, taking this as an opportunity, what did Sushim suggest his father Bindusara? Send Ashoka to Takshashila to suppress the revolt. You are also the ruler. You are also the son of Bindusara. You are aspiring the throne of the Mauryan Empire. In fact, you can go to northwest and suppress the civil revolt in that region. But Sushim, what did he thought? There is an extreme civil revolt in the region of Takshashila. And when Ashoka goes to the region of Takshashila, he won't come back. He will die. And that was the plot of Sushim. As I've told you previously, Ashoka was not a fool. He was a very skilled ruler. He knew this plot again. And how did Ashoka knew this? In the court of Bindusara, there was a minister named as Radhagupta. I repeat, there was a minister named as Radhagupta who used to provide all the information to Ashoka. Ashoka, he had such a dangerous personality. He is also referred as Chand Ashok, Ashoka the fiercest, that he moved to Takshashila. And as soon as he moved to Takshashila, the civil outbreak or the civil revolt, it got vanished. In fact, the people and the governor of Takshashila welcomed Ashok. Again, this was not digested by his brother Sushim. And by now, Bindusara, he accepted Ajivika sect and he died. Now come the role of Ashok. It is believed as per various historical texts, Ashoka killed his 99 brothers to acquire the throne of Mauryan Empire. Can you imagine? He killed his 99 brothers and he pardoned one of his brothers whose name was Pissa. And apart from that, he killed everyone and became the ruler of Mauryan Empire. It is believed that Ashoka is called by different names. Like basically, he's called as Priyadarshani, the most beautiful one. He's called as Devanama Priya or Devanama Piyadasi, beloved of all gods. In various historical texts, he is also referred as Chand Ashok because he was a very short-tempered person. He used to get angry quite easily. Hence, he is also referred as Chand Ashok. Chand Ashok basically means Ashoka the fiercest. It is believed that Ashoka used, like for example, if a person has done any crime against the administration, or if a person has done any crime against the women, okay, that person was given death penalty. And how? There's a place in MP where Ashoka had created his own well, and that is called as Ashoka's hell. Like it was what we say, he had created his own well that was referred as Ashoka's hell. That well was approximately 40 to 50 feet deep, and at the bottom of the well, there were pointed spikes of 1 to 2 feet. And if a person has committed any crime against the administration, particularly a crime of Deshdroh, what we call it as, or if he has committed any crime against the women, he was thrown into that well. And Ashoka used to enjoy these sorts of punishment. One battle drastically changed Ashoka's life. And that battle is Battle of Kaling, which occurred around 261 BC. It is believed that more than 1 lakh persons were killed in the battle. More than 1,50,000 were made as prisoners of war. When Ashoka saw himself, he was completely anointed from head to toe in blood. Anointed basically means it feels like somebody has done his abhishekam with the blood. Ashoka saw the battlefield. Till where his eyesight used to go, the entire battlefield was full of bloodshed. He came on the battlefield. He saw the corpses and small children crying beside the corpses. Immediately he laid down his weapons. And he said that if this is the way to win over the people, I don't want to be a Chakravartin. Chakravartin basically means the ruler of 4 directions. It is not necessary to win over the people by war, Bheri Ghosh. You can also win over the people by love and peace, Dhamma Ghosh. And Ashoka, it is believed that, now became the follower of Buddhism. It is also believed that the third Buddhist council, which was held at Patliputra, was patronized by Ashok. And he completely abandoned the policy of conquest by war. He adopted the policy of love and peace. This was one of the most important contributions of Ashoka in the Mauryan Empire. Wasn't this an interesting story again? Okay guys, without wasting any more time, let's move further with the basic administration of the Mauryas. Let's understand within the next 10 to 15 minutes about the major administration of the Mauryas. Hope so the points are clear, guys. Just have a look at this chart. Mauryan administration. Now let's go ahead. As a part of Mauryan administration, king was at the apex of the administration. Okay? And king basically, he was supported. In simple words, king worked on the advice of Council of Ministers. And these council of ministers are referred as Mantri Parishad. King was at the apex of the administration. He was assisted in performance of his duties by council of ministers referred as Mantri Parishad. And Mantri Parishad was headed by a minister referred as Pradhan Mantri or Mantri Parishad Adhyaksh. Clear? I will repeat the point. King was at the apex of the administration, and to assist the king in performance of his duties, there were council of ministers referred as Mantri Parishad. And Mantri Parishad was headed by Mantri Parishad Adhyaksh. So here you have Rajan. Then you have Mantri Parishad. And Mantri Parishad is headed by Mantri Parishad Adhyaksh. In simple words, Mantri Parishad Adhyaksh is acting as a channel of communication between the king and council of ministers or Mantri Parishad. Got it? Now this Mantri Parishad will consist of important ministers, and these ministers are referred as Amatya. I repeat, these ministers are referred as Amatya. Who will appoint these ministers? King will appoint these ministers. King will take the advice of whom? The Prime Minister or Mantri Parishad Adhyaksh. Got it? Now there were various departments. Now as per Kautilya's Arthashastra, there were 26 to 27 departments. Here I have mentioned the few of them. Majority, like 4 to 5 departments have been asked by UPSC Prelims examination in the form of terminology. So some important departments are Sanidhata, he was head of Royal Treasury. Kupya Adhyaksh, head of Forest Department. Lavan Adhyaksh, Lavan, it's a Sanskrit word for salt. So he was the head of Salt Department. Then Sur Adhyaksh, he was a person responsible for excise duty. Patwa Adhyaksh, he was responsible for weights and measure. One more important, Patan Adhyaksh. Patan Adhyaksh was basically for, this is not parts, this is ports. He was responsible for ports, which in Hindi is referred as Bandargah. Swarna Adhyaksh, head of Gold Department. So these are the important ministries. Land during the Mauryan period was referred as Sita. And the person who was responsible for Agriculture Department was referred as Sita Adhyaksh. I repeat, Sita Adhyaksh. So I repeat the points again in short. Pay attention carefully. King was at the apex of the administration. To assist the king in performance of his duties, there were council of ministers. These council of ministers were referred as Mantri Parishad. Okay, and Mantri Parishad was headed by Mantri Parishad Adhyaksh or Prime Minister. Simple words, he acted as a channel of communication between the Rajan and the Mantri Parishad. These are the important departments. Now, as I have told you previously, that Mauryan Empire was divided into 5 provinces: Central, Northern, Southern, Eastern and Western. The capital of Central Province was Patliputra. The capital of Northern Province was Takshila. Southern Province was Swarnagiri. Swarnagiri, not Swarnabhumi. Swarnabhumi is Thailand. Swarnagiri. Eastern Province, Tosli. And the Western Province, Ujjain. Now, in the Central Province, who was responsible for the administration? King and his council of ministers. And what about these places? Here, the king appointed governors. And governors usually belong to the royal family. Correct? As I have given you example previously, Bindusara appointed his son Ashoka as the governor of Ujjain or Avanti. Correct? So these governors are referred as Kumar Amatya. I repeat, these governors are referred as Kumar Amatya. Got it? Now, as I have told you, king is at the center. And king is assisted by council of ministers or Mantri Parishad in performance of his duties. Similarly, these governors or Kumar Amatya are assisted by few people like Rajuka, Yukta and Pradeshika. I repeat, Rajuka, Yukta and Pradeshika. And what was their role? Pradeshika, he was responsible for collecting the taxes. Rajuka, he was a revenue officer. And Yukta was a treasurer. I repeat, Pay attention. Center, king, administration by council of ministers. Other provinces, governors. Governors usually belong to the royal family and were referred as Kumar Amatya. Kumar Amatya was assisted in performance of his duties by whom? Assisted in performance of his duties by Rajuka, Yukta and Pradeshika. Rajuka was revenue officer, Yukta was treasurer, and Pradeshika was responsible for collection of taxes. Got it? Moving ahead. Now listen to me carefully. District administration. District administration was being looked by Rajuka, Yukta and Pradeshika again, and the city was called as Nagar. And the administration of Nagar was looked after by Nagarika. I repeat, the administration of Nagar or city was looked after by Nagar Adhyaksh or Nagarika. Now pay attention carefully. The basic unit of administration was village, and village was referred as Gram, and Gram was headed by Gramika. I repeat, the basic unit of administration was village, village was referred as Gram, Gram was headed by Gramika. Okay? Now, suppose there is one village. So in one village, how many Gramika will be there? One Gramika. Suppose there are 10 villages, means 10 gram. So how many gramikas would be there? 10 gramikas. Okay? This is for one gramika for one village. 10 villages will have 10 gramika. So what will happen? These 10 gramikas, that is head of 10 villages, will choose one person who will head all the 10 villages, and that person is called as Gopa. In simple language, in simple words, Gramika is the head of one village and Gopa is the head of 10 villages. Clear? Moving ahead. 1 gram, 1 village, 1 Gramika. 10 gram, 10 Gramika and 1 Gop. That is 10 villages. Now, 100 gram means 100 villages. 100 Gramika. Correct? Now 100 Gramika means 10 Gop. Now these 10 Gop will choose among themselves as a person who will head 100 villages. And that person is referred as Tahanak. He is the head of 100 villages. In very simple language, guys, please do not get confused. Gramika was the head of one village. Gop was the head of 10 villages. And Sthanak was the head of 100 villages. Clear till here now? So please remember this. Gramika was the head of one village, 10 villages was headed by Gop and 100 villages was headed by Sthanak. Clear? This is the basic administration. The flow chart. This is not Gopu, this is Gop. Okay guys? Now let's speak about the spy system. Spies are referred as eyes and ears of the king. Correct? Now, as I've told you, when Seleucus Nicator was planning to attack India, he was just planning, and the army of Chandragupta Maurya was at the doors of Seleucus Nicator. Can you imagine the vast spy network of whom? The vast spy network of Chandragupta Maurya. Similarly, the same spy network was there in medieval India of Alauddin Khilji, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Ji. Correct? So spies are eyes and ears of the ruler. Why? Because they keep the king updated about the happenings. Now at that time, there were two kinds of spies. And these two spies are referred as Sansthan and Sanchari. I repeat, Sansthan and Sanchari. Now what is Sansthan? I'll give you a small example. Suppose a ruler has implemented a policy within his kingdom. Is that policy implemented at the grassroots level or not? Are the ministers performing their duty in a cordial and honest manner or not? And basically, who will take care of this? Sansthan. So Sansthan are the spies who will bring the information from within the kingdom. And Sanchari are wandering spies. They will bring the information from the outside kingdom. Which king is planning to attack the Mauryan Empire? What is the strategic location of the other rulers? So that is Sanchari. So two kind of spies, Sansthan and Sanchari. Okay? And Sansthan and Sanchari were headed by Good Purush. So spy department was headed by Good Purush. And under them there were two spies, Sansthan and Sanchari. I repeat, Sansthan and Sanchari. Sansthan was stationary spies. They brought the information from within the kingdom. And Sanchari were wandering spies. They brought the information from the outside kingdom. In fact, women and children were appointed as spies. Why? Because it is like basically women and children are not doubted easily. Women were used as wish kanyas. Correct? So, basically the Mauryan Empire had a vast spy network. Crime and justice system, as I have talked about, whom? Ashoka. Ashoka had created his own well called as Ashoka's Hell. So you can imagine the crime and justice system at this time. There was a severe punishment. Now there were two types of court, civil court and criminal court. Civil court was called as Dharmastheya and criminal court was called as Kantakshodhan. Pay attention. What was the responsibility of civil court? Why it was called as Dharmastheya? Dharma basically means law and order. And the responsibility of civil court was to maintain the law and order. And criminal court, it was called as Kantakshodhan. Kantak basically means thorn, kata. It is the responsibility of Kantakshodhan, criminal court, to find out the anti-social elements from the society and wipe them out. So there were two kind of courts, civil court referred as Dharmastheya and criminal court referred as Kantakshodhan. Okay, as I've talked about Ashoka, he had like criminal law was quite severe during the tenure of Ashok. Okay, defense system, important one. See, Mauryan Empire had a war council. And this war council consisted of 6 committees. Okay, this committee included infantry, foot soldiers, cavalry, horsemen, chariots, elephant, navy and transport. Okay, and in every committee there were 5 members. So totally in the war council there were 30 members. In case of an unforeseen situations like war, what will happen? These 30 members will take the decision immediately. Okay, they'll become active. Rather than saying active, this is a proactive department, War Council. Now, Mauryan army averagely consisted of 6 lakh infantry, foot soldiers, 30,000 cavalry, 1,000 chariots and 9,000 war elephants. People or soldiers were not directly recruited into the army. There was a proper examination, there was a test, physical test conducted for recruitment into the Mauryan army. And everyone was paid salary in cash. Okay. Infantry department basically was headed by Pad Adhyaksh. Cavalry department was headed by Ashwa Adhyaksh. Ashwa basically means horse. Now, this has been asked in the examination. This is mercenary. What are Bharatiyakas? Bharatiyakas were mercenary soldiers. And who are they? For example, if a ruler has attacked another ruler, now he has win over the region of that ruler, and the soldiers of the opponents, they are taken as prisoners of war. Later on, these soldiers would be added into the army of the victorious ruler. Such are called as mercenary soldiers. And Maula are hereditary warriors. I repeat, Maula are hereditary warriors. For example, if my father is a commander-in-chief of the army of Ashokas, the next commander-in-chief would be me. So these are hereditary warriors. So Maula are hereditary warrior. Remember this terminology. Bhartiyakas are mercenary soldiers. Okay. Elephant section was headed by Hasta Adhyaksh. It is Hasta Adhyaksh or Gaj Adhyaksh. So this is majorly about the defense system of Mauryas. Another important fact that I'll tell you about the Mauryas, the concept of Stridhan. If I speak in the concept of society, this question has been asked in UPSC Prelims examination. What is Stridhan? Now, I'll give you a small example. When a girl child is born, okay, so she receives some gift in the form of money, in the form of gold. When she is married, again she receives some gifts in the form of money, gold, landed property. Now, all these gifts belong to that girl. Why? Because this will act as a social, rather than saying social security, economic security for that girl in case of adverse situations like widowhood, divorce, and so on. So the concept of Stridhan, although it was prevalent from the time of Vedic ages, it got importance and prominence during the Mauryan period. This shows the dignity towards the women that was being adopted by the Mauryan rulers. Correct? So basically it is said that there were like rulers like Ashoka who respected and revered women a lot. Correct? There shouldn't be any kind of crime against the women. Getting the points clear? There shouldn't be any crime against the women. So to check the crime against the women, a special officer was appointed by the Mauryan rulers. Correct? So, and women, they were also the part, as I've told you, Vishkanyas, they were part of the spy system. Women were appointed as bodyguards or palace guards. So society, particularly towards the women, they had a huge reverence and respect. So guys, this was majorly about the important Mauryan rulers and some aspects of the administration. Okay. Within coming session, I'll be speaking on some aspects of Kautilya's Arthashastra, Ashoka's Rock Edict, and Megasthenes Indica for the next half an hour in the coming session. Hope so guys, you learned a lot. Hope so you enjoyed these beautiful stories. Okay. I have also started History Through Stories. There's a playlist on StudyIQ wherein you will come across History Through Stories. And here I have discussed 2 stories till now. Ganimikawa technique or guerrilla warfare technique used by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Ji. A journey of enlightenment, where I have narrated a small story of 8 to 9 minutes on Lord Buddha, how he attained nirvana or enlightenment. I'll be coming up with more interesting stories on the playlist History Through Stories. So please do follow that for interesting stories. So next session, as I've told you, I would be covering Kautilya's Arthashastra, certain aspects of Ashoka's Rock Edicts, and Megasthenes Indica. Hope the session was wonderful. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.